Good evening, everybody. I'm Noreen McClendon, and I'm your host and facilitator at Free to Heal, where we are formerly incarcerated and loved ones, and we come together every week to heal the wounds and damage that was done through mass incarceration. And I want to say at the outset that you can always watch our videos on YouTube. I found out that some people didn't realize that they could watch our videos on YouTube, so I want to make sure that people are aware. It's Free to Heal LA on YouTube. Freed to Heal LA on YouTube, so that you could check us out there. Um, One of the other things that we do here is that we have a heavy focus on making us better people, as well as healed. But there are certain things that healing requires. And in my book, 5 Steps to Personal Peace, one of the things that I say about the 5 steps is that another benefit to following these steps is that if one party in a transaction or relationship is going to be upset, I believe that it should not be me. That's just me. Call me crazy. I'll take that. I just don't want to be stressed and angry or disappointed. I may be disappointed once or twice with a person, but after that, listen, this is the important part, y'all. Everybody listening?
Yes.
If I put myself in the same position with that person again, it is my fault. I'm going to say that again. I may be disappointed once or twice with a person, but after that, if I put myself in the same position with that person again, it is my fault. Hello, it is no longer the other person's fault for disappointing you when they have done it multiple times. Twice is more than enough times. And you position yourself to allow them to do it again. My mother had a lot of sayings. One of them is this: if you find a sucker, lick it. Well, if I continue to put myself in the sucker position and you lick me, how can I be mad? How am I be mad?
I can't.
You already showed me more than once who you are, what you will do. And so I should only be angry with myself. The biggest benefit to following these 5 steps is that you live authentically. It reduces to almost zero the times you have to play along with others. These steps ensure that others know where you stand and you become known for being a straightforward person. What I will say is that in today's times, truth is they're trying. There's this push to try to make it seem like nobody can tell what's true. That's a damn lie. Truth is true. It's neither hot nor cold. The truth of the matter is, I am a Black female. I'm never going to be a man. I'm never going to be anything in this body, a Black female. And that's okay. Like it or don't. That's what I am. So one of the things when I was looking at that, I was thinking, you know what? I want everybody to think about what instances have you allowed yourself to be disappointed, taken advantage of more than one time? And what have you learned from it?
Trust in men.
The men's? Is all the men's fault?
No, for me, the thing is, when you think you're in love and stuff, and you go back, and they're doing you wrong, and you know they're doing you wrong, but you keep going back. It's what you're saying. You're the one, and you know. But some people look at the women who they get beat and go back.
Well, and one of the things is that is true also, like with the women who are in domestic violence situations and they continue to go back, is that the real concern and the problem with that is that every time you go back, it gets worse. When a person disappoints us the first time, they feel bad. Oh, they got makeup gifts, makeup sex, which is great, by the way. Just a footnote. But the disappointment, if it's physical violence, gets worse. Disappointments get more frequent. I would think of it, I'll use this analogy. It's kind of like after you've had a drink, the inhibitions come down. So that first one is when you were stone sober. Then once you got away with it and that person allowed you back into their life again, now what you got is I done had a little shot, maybe I done had a shot or two, and so now I'm not concerned about I don't have as much inhibition. And another thing is we teach people how to treat us.
That's it.
We teach
That's
them
it.
if our boundaries, which is one of the things about my book that is I think is really good about is showing us that we have to every time, even if we go through the steps and I say, if you don't show up or you tell me you're going to call and you don't call in, I'm not accepting that anymore. And then I accept it. What I have just done is I've moved my boundary. I have indicated to that person that my boundaries don't matter.
Or anytime somebody hits a woman, right? That should be the end of it, because
It should.
no woman should be hit or
Right.
pushed or any of that shit.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I just watched a movie for the first time the other night called This Ends With Us. And it was really good. And I didn't, from the title, Miss Roberta, I didn't even know what it was about. It came up, I guess, because of my algorithm or something I had watched. It was one of them things, because you watch this, you might enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I had heard of that. But and do you know, I didn't even realize until just about the end of the film what she meant this was that ended with us. And at the end of the day, toward the end of the film, when it's exposed, what happens is she says to he was her husband, and they had a baby, like kind of as the relationship was breaking up. And the baby was a little girl, and she extended grace and she allowed him to be there for the birth, and he was there to help name her, and he was in the hospital and he was trying to beg her to come back. And she was, because at the time, once they agreed on a name, she was going to name it after his deceased brother, which really meant a lot to him. And then she says, and I want a divorce. And he's like totally shocked. But she said, and he started to try to say something. She said, look, that little girl, and she listed all of the things he had done to her and all of the ways that he had violated her. And she said, so if that happened to her, what would you say to her? And he said, I would ask her to leave and never go back. And she said, okay. So then but I thought that was an interesting thing is she was like, leave and don't go back. And we talked about it recently too, how when you go back, it gets worse. And like in your case, we talked about your situation where if you went back at this point, you wouldn't come out on the other end of it.
No, ma'am.
You wouldn't come out on the other end of it. You wouldn't get that. You wouldn't survive it because it would be so bad. Not only would the narcissist do everything he could do to punish you because you caused him pain, you offended him by not allowing this to continue and by resisting him. That ego.
And I think that the narcissist.
I want to make sure, just take it over there with you guys and maybe it'll be close enough. Okay.
I think also the narcissist and or the abuser, when you go back, what you teach them is what your threshold is. Once you've accepted, once you have survived this amount of abuse and they have begged you to come back or begged you, and now you're worn down, you go back. It sets a threshold for them as how much they can do.
What they can get away with. Uh-huh.
That surpasses this, because this is, it's almost like you said, teaching them. It's teaching them that this is your survival level. So I love you, But if I want to break you when you make me mad again, here's where I need to go. And this is why after repeated times, they end up dead.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because like you say, the threshold starts to move. And every time you move it, what they can dish out gets higher and more intense. And let's be clear, it's not
it's abuse.
right. And that's what I was gonna say. It's not just physical abuse that this happens with.
No,
This can be
no.
monetary, it can be financial abuse, it can be
Emotional
abuse,
abuse,
verbal abuse, all of those things. And I think I would venture, I've heard too many people say that the physical stuff they could deal with, it was the emotional and verbal things that actually were worse and harder to get over than even the physical abuse, because the scars, the wounds will heal, right? But what's on the inside and what it makes you think about yourself,
you throw it up in the air.
Okay.
It has nowhere to land.
Right. And so you wind up
searching for
Like confetti.
Yes, yes, yes. And you're looking for it. And so again, I say,
we're Roberta's way. She's highly offended.
Okay.
I
I just love you. Have I told you that lately, Miss Roberta? I love you. I love you. I love our group here. We are very, very blessed to have one another, because I will tell you this, and I know I'm going to get a big pushback on it, but we all crazy. You too, Miss Tony. The crazy people are here,
I'm
but
this person in the room.
okay.
That's not saying
That threshold kind of low. What it was, threshold kind of low. Ah, no, here you are. Here you are. Here you are. So, but I will say that we need each other. We need each other, right? There are things that happen on an everyday basis, and we need each other, which is why I think Free to Heal is so important, and why I really wanted to get out to more people. But I want everybody to think about what I want you to say to me tonight is, after you think about that instance where you kind of moved your boundary, you let somebody, or you kept going back, what lessons did you learn? What lesson? Go ahead.
Well, the first lesson, it was hard for me to learn that I had put myself in a situation that I could have walked away from. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, you know what? I can help him. I can show him. I can teach him. You know what I'm saying? Just let me do it. Just let me do this. Let me do that. Or let me do it this way. I'm thinking in my mind all the different ways to help him, but was never thinking about a way to help myself. That's the lesson I learned.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. My brother, who's deceased, he had a saying, and I've heard it multiple times through people that in the faith community. I'm going to love them through it. I'm calling bullshit on the play.
Yeah.
Flag bullshit on the play, because that is not a thing. Listen, first of all, wherever they are is between them and their maker. Okay, if you want to go in a spiritual realm, if you want to go from the perspective of faith, wherever they are, I found with my brother in particular that it would have been better. I feel like he was actually in Yahweh's way of helping her. When you step in and you're going to solve their problems by loving them through it, he may be trying to isolate them to get their attention so that they can hear him and build their relationship with him. And by you interjecting yourself, you're slowing down the process. And so I have found we're not trying to love nobody through nothing. We're going to listen. And not that we don't give grace to people for the circumstances and situations that they've been through. It's not that. It's that we hold people accountable, because guess what? That's the best way to show them we love them. Even as little kids, kids want to know, how far can I go? Can I touch that? Well, no. My favorite example is, I have a little table in my living room, and it has family photos on it, and it has some little figurines that my mom had at her house. And so I kept those, and it's like of a DJ and a guy and a girl dancing, the two little fig. So ever since my youngest granddaughter was like a year old, I used to tell her, don't touch my table. Do not touch Yaya's table. That's not for you. Your toys are over here. So now she's 5. And she's very clear because every time she comes to the house, she goes stand in front of that table and she's watching it. She's looking at the table. So the last time she was over, she goes, oh, I said, don't you touch my table. She said, he has headphones, he has music and headphones, all of that. And none of that's for you to touch. Right. But it's like she's looking at it like, she's like standing this close to it, like, if I could just. So they want to know where the boundaries are. But see, I've already set the boundary. So she doesn't have to question whether I could touch this photograph, but I can't touch that. Or I could touch this figurine, but I can't touch this one. The boundary is very clear. You don't touch this table at all. Nothing on it, nothing. Why? Because you have your own toys. Children, a lot of times, parents, I know we all been around that parent that goes, if you don't stop that, I'm gonna do this. If you don't stop that, I'm gonna do. Well, then just shut up and just do it. Just shut up and do it. Because every time you do that, every time you say it and don't do it again, you teach them that your word means nothing. And so what have we done to ourselves in those instances where, we just let somebody get away with it? We set a boundary and then moved it, right? Those are terrible things. But that is a good one, is to know that we cannot love people through their trauma, their narcissism, their brokenness. We could be there as support, but they got to do the work. The only time when I began to heal from my emotional wounds is when I accepted responsibility for my behavior. Not a moment before that. That day was the most painful day of my life, when I had to admit that it was my fault I was in all that pain. But right after that, I started to heal. And the other thing it did is it empowered me to know, this is how you got here. This is what you did. And now I know not to do that again. I think that's just it's a simple thing. So again, open up to anybody else. Anytime you could think lessons that you learned when you kept going back and then you finally figured out, no, it's not good.
I think for me, it is, that particular thing. Realize how much you
Wow, that's
have. That
huge.
is money lost, figuratively. So, getting to a point with someone who continuously crosses boundaries or mistreats, getting to that space where, is this what you have reduced yourself? This is what you are, you work with what you are, so be it, not the me.
That's so powerful.
And I've been,
Me too.
All females have to tell yourself the truth on life. Y'all have. Y'all been there. If I just do this, or if I don't do that, who's gonna do this? We all been through all them situations. Everyone who walked in this earth have.
but to flip that, having watch my girlfriend, I'm like, dude, you can't see that she not. Where you going? And you're a good guy. Where you going? You going off the deep end for a 304? Why? So I
Mr. Six.
no, but then I ask, And then when they tell me no, I'm like, well, damn, do you want me to reach back to Hawaii and slap you? Because what is it for? It shouldn't be for the sex, but if you said it was the sex, you're gonna make me, I'm not condoning it, but there begins to be a grade of acceptance of, okay, this is why you're there. But when you tell me no, I'm like, so then why?
Well, let me say this, in the men that I have talked to that I felt like, including my brother, and the person he was going to love through the situation, he told me in no uncertain terms she was not the best sex he ever had. And she was not that great in bed. So for men, it may be a different reason why they do that. I think part of what their thing is, they like to be Captain Save-A-Ho.
Well,
They like to put on a cape. They love the damsel in distress. You know, they always want to rescue some damn body. I think that's just a natural male inclination, protecting and that kind of thing. And I think it causes them to look for the damsel in distress to go save, right? Not recognizing that it can harm them. But I want to make sure the point is made that you devalue yourself every time you go back. You have devalued yourself. And the sad thing is that most of the time we don't even know that's what we did. We have no idea that's what we did. I know I didn't. I didn't have any idea. That's why in my book, Hurt People Highway, I write that I had to thank my parents. I was like, thanks, guys. Gee, thanks, because I didn't have traditional low self-esteem, right? I had my own brand of it, right? It wasn't, oh, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, none of that. None of that. I didn't have none of those thoughts. But I did have my own brand, which was if I didn't do all the relationship in the work, all the work in the relationship, that the guy wouldn't stay. Why? Because my dad wasn't there. Right. So I translated that. And from the time I was a little girl, I know I've shared this with you guys before, but one New Year's Eve, it was like, if you don't call him and wish him Happy New Year, he will never talk to you again. And now as an adult, when I look back at his reaction, I think my dad might have been suicidal that night, because my dad cried. He cried and thanked me, and I couldn't have been more than 11. I'm thinking I was 10, but I couldn't have been more than 11. So I'm thinking, and I remember thinking in the moment, this sure is a lot of emotion just because I called to wish him Happy New Year. But because I had that feeling, I just rolled with it. Daddy, I love you. You know what I'm saying? And all those kinds of things. But like I say, I was a kid. So now looking back on it, it's like he might have been suicidal that night. And it might have been the spirit telling me, hey, he needs to get your phone call. Because it was like I felt a sense of urgency. Even as a kid, I knew, oh, you better do this. And so I called him. So it's just strange how things happen. But again, I didn't have the traditional, because my dad always hugged me. My dad always told me he loved me. He carried me around till I was almost 12, because I was little for my age. And he carried me, you know what I'm saying? Let me walk on his shoes. He held my hands and let me put my feet on his, and we walked around the house and all that. Oh, like it was always affection and stuff like that. And he told me I was pretty. He told me I was smart. He made sure I could read, all of these things. But that one thing, and the crazy part is, I think it was the interpretation of a child, from a child's mind, what I thought his behavior meant, which didn't even have to be true. But I behaved as if it was. So for me, that's what it was. You know,
Processed it from that point of view.
From my perspective, where I was in that moment, and what it looked like to me, it did. From somebody else's perspective, it looked totally different. But from mine, that's what it looked like. It was like, well, if I don't do this, you know. And so it's just a strange kind of thing. But not realizing that we have devalued ourselves is a problem. Because what happens is it erodes like this, sand on the beach, little bit at a time. It don't all happen at once. The self-worth, what we believe about ourselves, that doesn't all erode at one time. It's like parents who speak negatively to their children about themselves. Um, it's not just the one time they said it, it's the constant reinforcement in other
You
ways.
ain't never gonna-
Yeah, that
I told you, that you probably be dead by the time.
yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
And it's the series of things that no matter what happens, this child is constantly hearing things that are not positive and don't build them up. So
You look just like your dad.
yeah,
So calm.
yeah,
So calm.
yeah, you look like him, you act like him,
You
you're gonna
gonna
be
be
just
just
like
like
him.
Yep.
You're gonna be just like your daddy.
Come out.
And the thing of it is the problem I have with it is who chose my daddy? And for that would be you. No, she was the one laid down with him. So why are you saying it with all that stank on it? You chose his ass. Listen, I'm gonna speak for me. Okay? I met my husband, and I promise you, within 2 to 3 months, I was pregnant. Now, in 30 days, we got engaged. We had a wedding planned and everything. But I was, and then I decided vanity was not gonna have me walk down the aisle pregnant. So we put it off until after he was born. But by the time he was born, I knew this dude was irresponsible. I knew that was not a shock to me at all that he was financially irresponsible. I married him anyway.
I love him.
Well, yeah, I did love him. Plus,
I can help you.
well, I don't even think I thought that far, Tony.
No.
I don't even think I thought that. Tony, I was like
Well,
19.
I mean, if you can
I was
recognize-
19, Tony. What the hell did I know about helping somebody?
But mentally, if you can recognize that he was financially irresponsible, that meant there had to be a level of financial responsibility that was inherent. That's all that I mean.
That's
You
true.
may not have physically said it.
Right. Or even thought it. But somehow, even if it was
He
subconscious,
guided you.
it did. It
Got
did.
He guided you.
It did. It had to.
Because I've been there, and it's like, I can teach, like, I have an ex-boyfriend, and, we talk from, here and there, and I think he's been down 27 years, and, whenever he's, in a mood, he might call me, and curse at me, and, and I laugh, because he didn't realize until way after the fact that these Daytons that he wanted for his Regal, he paid for it. But I took the money not to steal from him.
Uh-huh.
But that's what you want? Okay, no problem. I've always had a Christmas club account. I still have one to this very day. And I had it as a teenager. And for sure, I was going to get somebody's car, even when I didn't have a car to drive, to go put some money in that account to make sure that I kept that Christmas account, and so his friends would marvel at why you're so prepared for Christmas. And I was like, well, I have a Christmas account, and
It's called I prepared for it.
The whole idea of the savings. So what do you want? My Christmas account is for Christmas, but I still had to buy my daughter's school clothes. I knew school started in September. So what's my plan? And so I would talk to him about the plan. So I had plan envelopes, right? And so, he thought he was, he was doing a damn thing. And it was a Father's Day gift. And I was like, yeah, your Father's Day gift, but I never said a word. And he never knew. And he was like, I trusted you. I was like, well, I didn't steal your damn money, but it was like, we talking about 90. I'm not about to pay $1,400 for no fucking rims, and I don't own my own house. But if you want them, we gonna get them. So I think what I mean that is your guiding principle about being able to recognize, and
'Cause I knew.
recognize that. If you can recognize that, you had your own level of fiscal responsibility, because you can't recognize it if you don't even know what it is.
Right, exactly. Because I did, and I know what was the ultimate reason
Yeah.
that I wound up marrying him anyway. It was because I wanted to give my son a chance at having a nuclear family, intact family in the house that I didn't
Everybody
have.
got the same last name.
Yeah, because that was another big thing with me. As weird as that is, and I think as trivial as I understand it to be at this stage in my life as a senior citizen,
And I've always thought it was.
and I
Never
didn't.
wrap my mind around.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I listen.
Sensed about it. If I know I'm not gonna be with them, then my child gonna have my last name, and like male is male, and maybe because of the family I grew up in, and the majority of everyone had that last name, but I did it.
Right, that's true.
Uncanny as it was, so it just never mattered to me. But I thought it was the silliest shit ever.
Well, and now as a senior citizen, I feel that way. Like that was kind of trivial, but that was for me, that was an issue.
Yeah.
I wanted everybody in the household.
Made it an issue.
Yes, I wanted everybody in the household to have the same last name like I say, whatever that was,
Yeah.
that I'm fessing up. That was me. And
Yeah.
I wanted that, and I wanted that nuclear family. And my husband was not a bad person.
Right.
My husband didn't have a mean bone in his body. But I also knew with my Capricorn ass, me and my money, we're gonna have I gotta have my money.
And could you grow with that person?
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
See, as long as I was with him, I wasn't gonna never have nothing.
Right.
Because he always had a crisis to spend up my damn money. Or what would happen is I would pay the bill, and then he would use his money for whatever his crisis was. Which meant that whatever that extra money that I had for whatever I wanted was lost because I had to deal with whatever his crisis was. And that just continued to go on. Yeah, and that was like, no. Hey, Chester and Beverly, I want to see if either one of you have an opportunity that y'all can that you can think of, or any lessons you learned having gone back and forth to a situation.
One, can you hear me?
I sure can.
One lesson I learned: if you going back, you ain't learning shit. So
You ain't learned nothing. Uh-huh. Yeah, clearly you haven't learned your lesson, huh? And maybe that's structurally why the lessons get or the instances get more and more like to show you you're not hearing me yet. You're not hearing me yet. Like maybe that's why that is.
well, I think it's like a lot of us. Well, we did, but there's also a lot of insecurities in ourselves, and like you're saying, if you can't identify what's wrong, you can't fix it. So
Right.
that's this like right now today. We still a lot of us probably don't want to say it, but a lot of times we still second guess ourselves in a lot. I do in certain things, and I question my reasons sometimes, and but that's life. We have to learn. We're gonna learn every day, but you have to have self-reflection about who you are, self-awareness. I think self-reflection has a lot to play with why we go back in these toxic relationships or whatever, whether it's sex or whatever. But like you're saying, most women they outthink us men, because we caught up in the moment. Like you're saying, we run in the street, so you can kind of see what we doing. Like, nah, let me prepare because this nigga finna be, he gonna bring the whole house down. So,
Yeah.
and I can say that because I was like that running the street. My woman is a good woman.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 40-year-old son, and she put up with a lot of my bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
I done been to prison more than once before I caught a life sentence. She was
Mm-hmm.
running back and forth, and she just like, man, when you gonna change? I had to, it took me to get a life sentence to really grow up and look at. I was the reason. I would never blame myself. I was always, this and that. And I had to look at myself and like, man, you the cause of this. I'm making her complicit in what I do. I want her to come to the penitentiary, send me packages. Nah, nigga, you did that. You deal with that. And I kind of took her love for granted. You know what I'm saying? You know, like right now today, we tight as thieves, but still, I know I hurt her a lot. You know, and she still deals with me. You know what I'm saying? And I apologize to her a lot for things I did to her. I didn't just say I apologize. I told her why I apologize. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Because she has my child, so she has to have the utmost respect.
mm.
You know, so but yeah, I mean, this is a very good topic, and it makes me go back, like I say, and look at myself, like, you know. But yeah, I like this topic, so yeah,
Good. Cause you know, she took you back because she loved you, for sure. There's no ifs, ands, or two ways about that. And one of the things I wanted to say when you talked about apologizing is I want anybody listening to understand this. The best apology is change behavior.
exactly that part. Because
That's
let me
the
say this,
apology. Because even if
you're
you didn't
right,
say it and you just changed it, it would have been more, be powerful, right?
but
Because we want the
you're right.
behavior to stop.
But you know what? And you're right because you know what? Everybody they don't have to accept your apology. People don't have to accept your apology. You know,
And
so you're
that's a
right.
real thing, Chester, for real. Okay, so Miss Cheryl, she's a little bit of a bully sometimes. She don't know it, but she is. And so I'm blaming her for bullying me into writing these short little books. So this book that the book I finished it to the first one. The first one is going to be a very short book called Reentry Relationship Survival Guide.
Hmm.
And we were talking about, and I want to make sure I don't lose my thought. We were talking about um, the behavior being changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, God dang it. Oh, I hate when this happens. My thought just left me. That's the too busy messing with Cheryl. That's what I get for picking on people. I need to behave myself. You know what I'm saying? Stop messing with people.
Was you being a bully right now?
I don't know, but oh gosh, dang it. Oh, what was I
Go
going to tell
back,
you about that book?
go
Back to the
to what
back.
you said.
It was about we were talking about the behavior being changed.
Let them say what they.
Yeah, what were you saying, Chester? God dang it.
Yeah.
I about to say, yeah, let him say
I
what
was saying that everybody don't have to accept your apology.
Ah,
You
that's
know.
us.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things that we've talked about here oftentimes, and I definitely put in this little short relationship guide, is that um, if you have children and you don't get, here go Carlos again. You don't get to determine how that child feels about your absence. You don't, and this is when you hurt or offend anybody. You do not have say so in how long it takes them to get over it, how they process it. You don't get to say none of that.
how they feel,
How they feel about it.
how they see it.
You don't have a say so in that. You offended them. How they receive that and what they do with that is for them because again you did it. Now the best thing you could do is you could change your behavior in that moment and you could change your behavior and never do it again, but they don't have to accept your apology. They don't have to. Of course, we always teach here at Free to Heal that the apology is more for you than it is the person you've forgiven, so that you can be free, so that you take the power out of the offense, right? Take the power out of that offense. But you don't get to decide how and when they respond and if they even accept your apology at all, Chester. You just don't
You're
get to
right.
decide that. And you got to be okay with that because you did
I'm
it
just about to say, move on.
and move on. Yeah, like whatever they ask you to do, move on from there. Also, and don't. And I would say to the person, if somebody doesn't accept your apology, as long as you've made it,
Mm-hmm.
free yourself and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit around beating yourself up about the fact that they because you've done all you can do. Mm-hmm. You've done all you can do at this point. There's nothing else you can do. If you've apologized and you don't behave the same way, what else can you do? So you don't, and I see you, and you don't, but so you don't have to continue to be browbeat over your head for the same offense that happened 20 years ago that you can't undo. Even if you wanted to, you can't undo it.
And that's the good part about saying to move on, because for you to keep letting them say it and they keep hurting you, right?
And that is a prime example of what we've been talking about, right? Continuing to go back for, because, and that's in an odd way the same principle, right? If you have apologized, you've done all you can do, and then you know that they haven't, or you keep going back looking, now you setting yourself up. Now you acting like a sucker, and if they lick it and go ahead and make you feel bad again, now you mad,
That's on you.
and
That's
that's
on
on
you.
you. It's not on them. You were gonna say something, Pike?
That's, that's why, I mean, there's nothing, back when I was younger, I was crazy. You
Mhm.
know I was crazy.
That's still are. Go ahead.
No, not even close.
Just not the same kind of crazy, but go ahead.
But that's why I never had kids,
Mm-hmm.
because I always knew I was going to prison, and I can't picture me being locked up and have a child and not be able to do anything for them.
Mm-hmm. Protect them, provide for them, do anything for them.
Yeah, I mean, why do I want somebody to come to the visiting room for an hour
Yeah.
in what do you do in an hour? How can you
Well, I can tell you what we
focus
do.
somebody?
I can tell you what we do. Look, listen, I can tell you what I did. You know what I'm saying? Tried to make the best out of that hour and the best out of them 15-minute phone calls. And like I tell y'all all the time, me and that lady gonna have a misunderstanding when I run into that heifer in the street. Which lady is that y'all talking about? This call is being recorded. You're never, me and her, we're gonna have a misunderstanding if I ever meet her in the street.
Do when I press 5.
Right when I pressed 5 that it was recorded. You told me that before I pressed 5. I'm just saying. So like me and her, we're gonna have a falling out for sure. It's gonna be a misunderstanding.
Well, you know, now they have these tablets and stuff in
Mhm.
prison, and they can make phone calls off their tablet,
All the time. They sure do.
and they don't have anybody disturbing them. You know?
All the way up to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Huh?
She said all the way up to 11 o'clock p.m. they can call.
Yeah, but I'm saying that
They don't have nobody interrupted. But I've never
You don't
received
have
a
to-
call from a tablet, or did I? No, but even with the tablet, don't they still do that whole thing, Diane?
It hangs up.
Don't they still do that same thing about this call and your number will be monitored from the tablet too, right?
Everything.
Yeah, because what I was thinking though,
They're
Sweetie,
gonna tap that phone no matter what.
yeah, because I was thinking that, you know what, when a guy called me recently, I'm thinking,
Yes.
because one time he was saying, once I pushed number 5, the call didn't accept. And it said either say 5 or press 5. And I kept doing that and it still wouldn't go through. And then it was a couple of weeks. He was like, yeah, my tablet was messing up. So I think they do still do it even on the tablet.
Yeah, well, I'm
They still record them calls. They still
Okay.
record them calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
The institution will record it,
Right, yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And any calls going out,
yeah.
but difference is you ain't got that stupid ass operator.
Oh no, she's in there.
Who's there?
Oh, she's in there. Yeah, she's in there too. That's what I'm saying. Me and her, we gonna fall out for
That's
sure.
when you send a picture or a video on the tablet,
operator is on me.
it says pending, right?
Oh, they gotta
still
review
go
it.
through and all that and everything.
Oh.
It's all the same.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. Like I said, so yeah, but I really just, Chester, I really appreciate that comment about the fact that like with them, they don't have to accept your apology. People
They
don't
don't. They
accept our
don't.
apology. They don't have to forgive us for things. They don't have to. And another thing, just to be clear, they can even accept your apology and still not want to be bothered with you.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's big.
Exactly.
It's totally
Exactly.
acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, you the one caused this. You caused it. You know, and a lot of times we don't look at what we do. You know what I'm saying? You got to hold yourself accountable and take responsibility.
I
That's the
always say
change
when they
there.
pointing, look at them three fingers coming back at you. Is one going out, but it's three of them pointing back at you.
Yeah,
What are they telling you
yeah,
about you? And like I said earlier, it wasn't until I was willing to go to look at myself that I was able to heal from a pain that literally had me thinking insanity would be better than the pain that I was living with every day.
Yeah.
Literally, that was a
yeah.
just thought.
And I'm saying that out loud. Don't have that crazy that.
Isn't it crazy today? What was I thinking?
I really was thinking like that.
I'm telling you, I sure did. I sure did think insanity would be better than the pain that I was in. And like you say, it's the craziest thing in the world when you hear me say it out loud. Really? Miss Beverly, what about you, sweetie?
What I learned was once you get out of a relationship, you can't, well, I can't still be friends because I was in a relationship and he was 1,000 miles away and I was talking to him and he was still finding ways to get me upset every day or, making me go off. So, what I did in 2025? I just blocked him. I'm like, I had to just cut him off, period. Don't have anything else to do with him. And I did see him when I went back to Michigan to my high school reunion. And he was like, why you didn't tell me you was coming? And I said, because I got you blocked. Why would I unblock you to tell you that I'm coming? So, but I feel so much better because I don't
Woo!
have to, you know what I mean? It was a relief, once I just realized, why am I putting myself through this?
Yeah,
I don't even have to talk to him. I don't even have to see him. He 1,000 miles away. And I'm still letting this man control my feelings and get me upset. And it seemed like that was his purpose when he called, was to see if he can get me mad or get me angry. So
Wow.
I don't have to worry about that no more.
And what did you learn about yourself in that experience? And maybe like where you when you finally let it go, what did you learn?
I learned that I should have did it a long time ago, you know. But
Right. Right.
yeah,
What
but
took you so long?
I learned that I wasn't putting myself first. I was putting
Yes.
him first, you
Yes.
know. And I was more concerned about his feelings. And and for some reason I didn't want to let go of that person because of what he had, you know what I mean? And what I just couldn't let that go. But for a peace of mind, you can let all that go, you know.
Ooh-wee. Because
I don't need to do all that traveling. I don't need to. And then every trip we went on, we was arguing. So what
see,
was,
it
you
wasn't
know what I
even
mean?
fun.
No. So I'm like, I just feel better.
You know what I
I just
feel
feel a whole
like?
lot better.
We were in the same relationship, Miss Beverly, because I gave him my power, and clearly, what was always the priority was his feelings, what he wanted, his needs, what was going on with him was always the highest priority in the relationship. And looking back on it, I realized that I thought I was having fun. But like you say, all those places you took me, I didn't realize until I was out of it how on edge I was when I would go to those places, so afraid that I was going to do something or say something or talk too loud and make him mad or anything. And then looking back on, I never forget one time, Miss Beverly, after Bible study, we went out with a group of us to dinner after this class. And we went and we sat there and we everything. And that particular night, I purposely didn't say anything unless I was specifically asked. When we got back to his house that night, he said, "You were perfect tonight. I just loved the way you were tonight." So you love me
Wow.
display. You love me as being on your arm. And when you ask me something, I got a great response. But that's the only time you want to hear from me. That's perfect for you?
Mm.
On him.
And
We
that
used to
was
have
the
to,
thing.
I
I
used
didn't
to have to
understand.
go through, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, baby. Go
I
ahead.
used to have to, I used to have to get whatever, when we was going somewhere, I had to get his okay if I could wear that, you know. He would look at it, he would say, I don't like that. You have to find something else to wear. Or he would tell me what I had and what he wanted me to wear. And I was so dumb, I would do it.
Well, you know what it wasn't dumb. What it was is wanting that relationship. It was not having the self-worth, Tony, right? Not valuing yourself enough, valuing your opinion, not requiring him to value your opinion. And these are all things that we tend to learn once we
Through
get out of that.
Right, you learn it. You
Through
also learn it
experience.
Through experience. So what I would remind us all is that these are reflective moments and that we should not beat ourselves up. Even if it was something that happened last week, I'm a week older today.
How about that?
And, it's reflective. I can laugh about it, be pissed off about it, or what have you. But it was an experience, and I did the best that I could with
What
the
you had at
space
that
I was
time.
in at that particular moment. And once I am a faithful on. Once I learned, you're gonna know that I've learned.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm moving. I'm moving forward. I'm moving on. Now me, as Pike says, I'm a mean son of a bitch. Seriously.
Admitted it.
I am meticulously calculated.
Once you know, huh?
But I do weigh. And the majority of the time, I think about it and I say, yeah, no. And I go the other direction. Do I have those thoughts? Absolutely, I have those thoughts. I don't want to be Birdie's ass couple of times.
Oh, you know
However, I go the opposite direction.
Bird.
So
let me tell you when you say that.
I don't beat up on Bert.
When you say that, right, it makes me think about, I heard Dale Bronner on YouTube say, you can't guarantee that you're not going to have a thought,
No.
but you can make sure it doesn't stay. So if I have a negative thought about myself, or this is not going to work out, I can shift that thought immediately. Not that the thoughts don't come, but that I don't have to keep entertaining them. I don't have to keep entertaining them.
Thank you, Miss Cheryl, for guiding me to that class, because I didn't never think like that at all.
Yeah.
And it's evolution, but
growth, right?
But for me, I sincerely think that if I get to a place with you where my absence is necessary, you definitely don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello.
Absolutely. That's a thing.
Exactly.
That's a thing. And I always said, after that relationship, when I came out with my sanity, I always said it made me dangerous in terms of relationships, because I learned how to love and walk away anyway. How to be very much in love and still walk away because it was in my best interest. And that is a very hard thing to do. But once you learn how to do that.
Because when we're young, or we don't really know, we don't have all the answers, we're still hoping of the version of the.
And if nothing else, the version we see them, how we see them, not, it don't have to be what's real, it's what.
And that's quintessentially chasing a high.
Yes, yes, chasing that high. Chasing the high and creating, and some of that high we created for ourselves because we romanticized it in history, right? We rewrite it and we say, oh, it was so great. Like I say, I honestly thought in all the years I was with this particular man that I thought the relationship was good. There were times I'd walk away and whatever, he wouldn't give me what I wanted in terms of the commitment I wanted, and I would step off and say, I'm done. And then he would hunt me down. He would do everything he could to get me back. And I would go back, and then it would all be the same, and we start the process all over again.
Like a hamster wheel.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was on. I was on this hamster wheel.
And he loved chase.
Huh?
And he loved
Oh, he absolutely loved the chase. And because he also wanted to control me. That was a big thing for him. He wanted to control me and how I functioned. And so that was something, but I hope that yeah, he wanted to conquer me, that was for sure. And you know what's crazy too, he wanted to isolate me, like he tried to make me believe that my family members and it was very subtle.
So your friend, is she gonna go?
It would to try to make it seem like my family members didn't
No, I don't want to.
oh Carlos.
Sure.
Carlos, you gotta mute.
See on 54? Just saying.
So oh, I love us. I love us.
I'm just saying, if you're on 54, I can make it there too.
So I just, anyway. Can we check out any last comments from you, Pike, for tonight?
Been a wonderful day. It's been a wonderful meeting and I enjoyed it. That's why I come.
That's awesome. We always glad to have you too. Okay, B.
The one thing I just was thinking about was, sometimes you don't know that you're being used or being mistreated. And the way that I figured out, it took me to go to jail to figure out, there's no reciprocity in a lot of relationships. That's the one thing I'll pop bottles with, money to, and everything else. But when I was down there, they weren't there for me. So I do think that's the one way I came back out. I just was like, hey, circle small, let's go. So I do think anytime you ask for same in return, it's an opportunity for people to show their hand and to say like, hey, is there any reciprocity in this relationship? And if it's not, then it's lopsided. That's probably not where.
Absolutely not where you're going to be, because part of the definition of healthy is that there's balance. By definition, it has to be balanced. It's not always 50-50 or whatever, but there has to be balance. At some point, the scales have to begin to balance. So that's true. Ms. Cheryl.
I'm a firm believer that when you come out of incarceration as a female, you don't get a relationship because you're too vulnerable. Absolutely vulnerable. You'll go for anything and get treated any kind of way and accept it.
And that is one of the things that I definitely put in. I definitely put it in the survival guide.
You have to get to know yourself in the free world.
And that's what I put in there. And I put, and of course, as I'm typing, I'm hearing your voice in my head. You and James, because James used to always say that too, but I hear that in my head, how you got to get to know who you are on this side of the wall before you start to date anybody else. Exactly.
But I was gonna say, by me being in that long-term marriage, as long as I was involved in it, for myself, I've learned that I need to stay with Diane. I need to check on Diane. I died, I need to check on Diane's been with these people. But Diane needs to check on Diane. That's how I check on. But I need to check on me. I need to make sure I was okay. I need to put myself in a position to know who I am. What do I like? What do I really want to do? How do I want to do? Now that's how I move, that's how I live my life. And no one can change that. Children, I love them to death. That's how I learned getting that long. That's just the way I was, and the way it was volatile because he was in prison. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was always there. He went to prison twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I did have a daughter that got deceased. I did have a son that went to prison for a very long time. He's still in there right now. Been over 20 years. I had to learn how to take care of me because I was so used to taking care of everybody else. I never took time to take care of me. So now I just take care of Diane.
That's awesome. Final comments, Mr. Burke?
She took her ponytail down. She tired.
Okay, that's okay. And the only reason I sent it over there was because you tend to speak soft, and if you
All the
were
time.
gonna say something or check it, I wanted to.
That
But
point is-
Tony speaks loud enough. She can.
Don't do the very white, please.
Amen. God bless.
Chester, any final comments, sweetie?
Um, yeah, what Diane them said, be yourself, know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Set boundaries and value yourself. Because if you don't know who you are, how you gonna know who the next person is?
And on
You
top of
know?
that, how are you going to tell anybody what your boundaries are? That's why
There you
the
go.
first step in living authentically you is to know yourself. That's where the
Yeah,
biggest portion of the book, Living Authentically You, the 5 steps, is spent on is knowing yourself. Because if
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
know I can't even tell you, I like that bread Tony made today because but that's what I know about me. Right, Tony?
yeah,
And I like that bread. You can make that bread anytime, okay? It's okay with me. You can make it anytime you want. It's fine because I'm a bread eater. I know that about me. Tony made it
yeah,
was like, it's a little lip. I was like, it's okay. Don't worry about it because I know me. I could tell Tony. Now,
yeah,
on the other hand, Diane is not a bread person. No, she like crackers,
yeah.
right? So she'll tell you that bread was good. Wasn't that high five time? She could make that. It was just delicious. So we get that. So thank you. Yes, you gotta know
Yeah,
yourself. That's the title of the
yeah,
book. Living Authentically You, 5 Steps to Personal Peace. And that first step is to know yourself. That's where you got to know who you are. You got to develop your principles that you live by and the ones you will not violate or allow anybody else to violate. You got to be able to do that for yourself. So thank you.
Hey, you're
Yes,
right. You have to have non-negotiable values. You
yes,
know.
yes. That you will not
Yeah,
compromise no matter who it is for nobody's sake.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a fact. Miss Beverly, how about you, sweetie? Final comments, Miss Bev?
No, I'm just saying I've been carrying this thing.
I was trying to get my microphone back on. Um, I just enjoy all the feedback. It really helps me. I really appreciate you guys. I do. And that's what I have to say. It's
I
a blessing.
appreciate you too, because you give as much as you get, Miss Beverly, just so you know. It may not feel like that to you, but your comments always add something to the conversation. And so I want to say to everybody, I thank you for being here.
Yeah, but not
I
that.
thank you for allowing us to come into your life again. Do not forget that all of these videos are on YouTube. If you miss some, it's Free to Heal LA on YouTube. Please go and check out our videos. Check us out on all social media sites. Leave us comments. Let us know if there are topics that you want us to discuss. I will say this, that the best thing that ever happened to me was the day that I looked myself in the mirror and acknowledged my own nonsense. Once I was willing to acknowledge my own behavior, it freed me up to actually heal. And that's what this is about. So I want to say thank you guys. I want to say we will see you guys next week, coming back here to Free to Heal. And we'll see you then, okay? Later.